and welcome to Iconoclasting with Sarah Smith. This is part of Iconoclast Innovations. This is our podcast for my business. And today we have the lovely Morgan. I think I'm going to say your name wrong, but I think it's Abreu. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes.
Great. Morgan Abreu, welcome. I'm so excited to have you on. We met each other, I think earlier this year and just like immediately clicked. I think it was like when I said, yeah, I dejunkify ops. And she was like, I love that. That's what I do for sales. And so we just had like an immediate connection. So, Morgan, do you want to introduce yourself, a little bit more about you, and tell us everything, and then we'll get into it?
Perfect. Thanks for having me, Sarah. I'm excited to chat with you. Yes, I do technically dejunkify sales process flows, but really what I do is I work with founders to help them figure out what they're doing that is founder magic for the sales and what they can transition over to someone else so they can do that first full-time sales hire. So founders that are staring at the ceiling, not knowing where their next deal is going to come from, come to me so we can help figure out how they can get some help.
I love that founder magic. So, what do you do? Like, tell us more about because you're doing Referral Reef and you're part of Melia strategy. Like that's your company, right? And so tell me like Referral Reef, tell me more about that and also tell me about like Melia strategy because I want to know about both of them.
Yeah, so Referral Reef was actually born out of Melia strategy. So when I started working fractionally for companies, I realized I was having a lot of sort of coffee chats with other fractionals, like how you and I met originally, where the call would kind of end by saying, by the way, I'm happy to throw 10% your way if you send me any business. I'm happy to like throw a referral feedback at you. And the first time that that happened, I was like, well, do you have a contract? Is there something you need me to sign? Is there like any sort of like paperwork behind this?
Hmm.
And his response was, no, we can get there when we get there. Like, not really worried about it. Like, just we can cross that bridge if we ever get to that point. But it made me really think that I was like, okay, fractionals do want to pay each other for things because as I was having coffee chats, I started offering that to other people, but no one was following through with it, even if we had a really great conversation. And I realized very quickly that if I was to send you a referral, I was going to need to handle the credit card processing. I was going to need to handle the invoicing, the contracting, the 1099 at the end of the year. And just a Google spreadsheet wasn't going to cut it. I needed to have something in place that was going to allow me to be able to track all of these things and for everyone to get paid in the process. So that was the basis of how Referral Reef was founded, was I wanted there to be a place where fractionals could come and have the infrastructure layer behind them to send deals back and forth so that everyone got paid in the process.
And so I love the name, by the way, and I really want to ask about where Melia strategy came from too. But
Yeah,
you're a scuba diver, right?
I am. I have
My goodness.
I've always been a water baby.
Yeah.
I was always happiest in the bathtub. I was always happiest in the ocean, in the pool. Like, throw me in a body of water and I'm the happiest. So then when my husband and I moved to Hawaii, scuba diving just became a part of our like daily routine. And he's now fully a PADI instructor. And we try to get in the water 3 or 4 times a week. So it's very, very deeply ingrained in like who I am as a person, as being a part of the reef.
Oh my gosh. And part of like the reef, especially in Hawaii, as I understand it, is like Hawaii, you have to have like reef safe sunscreen. You have to, so like I really love this idea of referral reef where it's taking care of your ecosystem, right? So that is an incredibly perfect name for you and for this endeavor. So I'm so excited about that. And just to let the audience know, I am a founding member and I'm very excited to be a part of it. So everybody should join. And it's like quickly becoming one of my favorite things.
Oh, well, thank you. And I was excited to have you in there so early on and such
Yeah.
a supporter for the group. I'm excited about the traction that I'm getting so quickly behind it. Info sessions are filling up really quickly. Onboarding sessions are having a ton of success, and it's been fun seeing the deals start to flow between people in the group.
Yeah, it's so great. Now tell me more about Malia's strategy and then we'll get into like what you did in the past. Because like where did that name come from? It's a beautiful name.
Yeah. So being in Hawaii and not being Hawaiian, I wanted to pay homage to something that was Hawaii based without taking something that was like a Hawaii name.
Mhm.
So a lot of businesses that are founded in Hawaii will say like Ohana is a great example because it's a Hawaiian
Mhm.
word that a lot of people know, or it'll be
Yeah.
something aloha. I wanted there to be something that I loved without really co-opting being Hawaiian. And the
Mhm.
plumeria flower is a big part of Hawaii. And
Yeah.
the Hawaiian name for the plumeria flower is Melia.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, so that was where that came from. And in Greek, it means honey, sweet, and soft. And part of the strategy that I bring to the sales process is this anti like bro sales culture. It's very relationship, very sweet, if you will.
Yeah, I love that. And it's also like you catch more flies with honey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
that's amazing.
which doesn't mean there's not strategy behind the
Well,
relationships you're
yeah.
building, but getting to know people in a way that makes them feel included and special,
Yeah.
gonna catch a lot more flies, if you will, than being like, you've got to walk out of here with this car today. I'll cut you a deal.
I know. Yeah.
Exclusive today only.
Yeah. And I've always been really like aggressively against that. It always makes me feel ick if I'm trying
Hmm.
to do sales, you know? So so you talked about being always a water baby, but were you always like the sales queen?
Absolutely not. But I was always a people person and I always had strategy behind the things that I was doing. So when I
Yeah.
went to school, I actually have a degree in biology and I thought I was going to do MD PhD was kind of the route. But I realized me
Gosh.
standing in a laboratory all day long, which I did a ton of research in college. Like that
Yeah.
was what I did. I was miserable because I wasn't talking to anyone. I mean, we could have been talking about research, we could have been talking about what you were doing over the
Yeah.
weekend. Like there was just no one for me to be
No.
talking to. And I was like, this is not going to work long term. I'm not going to be able to handle this. And then I realized being a doctor was someone else's dream for me and the way that people were going to interact with their practitioners was less about the way that they were getting to know their
Hmm.
patient and more about just kind of flipping between patient to patient, which I think is also kind of a commentary on the medical system in the US today. But it wasn't what I truly wanted. But I loved science. I loved research. I loved having that strategy and data to back up all the things that I was doing. So I started working an internship at a company that was a supplement company
Hmm.
in their quality department. And I ran into the
Fun.
same problem. We weren't talking to anybody.
No.
So I finished a project that was supposed to take 12 weeks in three and started talking to anyone that had a big cube. I say, like anyone that had
Hmm.
like one of the cubes in the office that was a little bit bigger. Ended
Yeah.
up talking to everyone from like the head of quality to the head of procurement, head of like production, and then talked to the new SVP of sales. And I didn't realize it was going to be kind of a job interview at that point. I was asking him the same sort of questions I was talking to everybody else with.
Yeah.
What did you want to be when you grew up? How did you end up in this position? Why did you end up in this position? And ended up walking away with a job offer that day. Oopsies. And I've been stuck in it ever since. Even when I took jobs that were quote unquote not sales jobs in between then and now,
Yeah.
I was still the one that got looked to for the ones that was doing the sales. I was still building pipeline, building revenue, thinking about business development.
Hmm. That's that's so amazing. And I love that like just by talking to somebody you walked away with a job offer. Hilarious. Obsessed. Okay, so tell me like okay, so we touched a little bit about the biology thing. What like and just kind of I mean, I told you about this before the call, but it's like I kind of fell backwards and as my husband says, ass backwards into sorry, I'm getting knocked on right here of my cat, but yeah, like ass backwards into working in tech. And like I have an English degree that's not anything that I thought I was going to do. And like you and I, it's like completely different paths that we envisioned for ourselves. Like my brother was waited tables and he's 9 years older than me. So I wanted to wait tables. So and I thought that was like great. But now it's funny how life shakes out and how it's a totally different kind of plan. So, and did you always plan to live in Hawaii or how did that go?
No, if you want to talk about windy careers, my husband has one too. He has a
Fun.
degree. He has a degree in computer science,
Huh.
realized he didn't want to just spend his whole career behind a computer screen. So
Hmm.
enlisted in the Marine Corps after he had graduated from like college and had a full-time career and everything. Became a machine gunner in the Marine Corps and now is a scuba instructor. So we got moved out here with the military.
Wow. Yeah, my husband is former Army, so I get those windy career paths. And yeah, I mean, but he always knew he wanted to be like Army. He was like, he went to the Citadel and then he became an Army officer, and it was like, do, do, do. So he's like, he's never had like the experience of being like free from like into like a college experience. I didn't have the normal college experience either, but like he doesn't understand civilian jobs or like what I
Yes.
do either. So it's really
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have that conversation in my house as well.
Funny. So like where where did you get the entrepreneurship bug? Is what I'll ask. Like, is anybody in your family entrepreneurs or founders, or like how did you even know to do this?
If you would have asked me that question point blank, my answer would have been no, no one in my family is an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
But then when I went home around Christmas time and was like, yeah, this is what I'm going to be doing, and started talking to people, I realized that a lot of people in my family and my husband's family actually run their own businesses. But you think about like the people that are in your lives, you don't necessarily like think about what they're doing on a daily basis or what they do for
Yeah.
jobs. Like that's just Uncle Bob and like that's who you sit across from the turkey at Thanksgiving and have. You're not
Yeah.
thinking about like, oh, this is what he does for work. At least
Yeah.
I didn't. Maybe some people do.
Yeah.
But work in my life and in my family was always something that you you were going to do. You were forward and continue to figure out what you wanted to do and what you wanted to create. But it was never something that was like you are only allowed to be a doctor, a lawyer, teacher. I think those are kind of the three things. Maybe we'll throw firefighter in there as well. When you think about it as like a child, those are kind of the jobs that you can have. Well, my family was never really like that. So when I went home for Christmas and was like, hey, I'm going to start my own consultancy, my husband's mom or just kind of laughed and was like, it's about time you joined the crew. We always knew it wasn't going to be him. We always knew it was going to be you.
Oh, that's so cute. I love it. So, where are you actually from? I don't know that about you. Like, I know
Yeah,
you're in Hawaii, but yeah, where are you from? Sorry,
I
just
grew
check.
up in, oh no, you're fine. I grew up in Raleigh. So grew up in
Okay, so
Raleigh, went
North
to school in
Carolina.
Charleston.
You went to Charleston, so you know the Citadel.
I do know the Citadel boys walking down King Street in their
Yes,
uniforms.
they're a problem. They are such a. I hope the Citadel knows this. Like, I hope somebody from there watches this. And yeah, those boys are problems and girls, I'm sure. Yeah, but yeah, okay. That's so funny. I didn't know that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I went to college at Charleston, so I was about 2 miles down the road from the Citadel.
yeah, you poor thing. Oh my God. Okay, yeah. So, and how many places have you lived since,
So
like, doing this?
I've lived in North Carolina, South Carolina, Washington, and Hawaii.
Washington State or
What
DC?
state?
Okay. And that's crazy. So, okay. And how long have you had your business?
I've had my business just about a year now. So I've
Only a
only done it
year?
in Hawaii. Yes,
You're only a year old in your business?
I am.
I did not know that. That's crazy. I love that for you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely still something really, really fun, and I hope it continues to be.
So, like, where do you see, like, did you think you would be doing referral Reef when you started Melia's strategy? Or were like, is it just, oh my gosh, I saw a need, I have to fill it?
It's I saw a need and I had to fill it.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I see it so much as a continuation of the work that I'm already doing, but a way to help others that are in the same position. Because
Yeah.
truly, when I was having all of these coffee chats, like it seems like just kind of a rehearsed line that I would say in an info session or something like that. But like it came up over and over and over again. And I had
It
over
does.
100 coffee chats before I landed my first client, just getting to know people in the space, figuring
Hmm.
out what they were doing, what they weren't doing. And I saw time and time again how excited people were when I said, hey, happy to throw 10% your way for whatever business you throw mine. And that's the premise of why I wanted Referral Reef to be there, is that when you're starting your business, it is terrifying the amount of technology that you have to onboard, whether it's like, how am I even going to get paid from my clients? Like, do I need to have some sort of invoicing
Yeah.
platform? Do I have to hire a lawyer to get a contract drawn up? Like, do I even have a contract? What about an NDA? Like, all of these
Yeah.
things swirl around in your mind that you're like, I didn't realize I was going to need all of these things. And the technology behind it, getting a referral for new business, should not be complicated. It should just be there
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah, and that's why I love working with founders, especially is like especially from an operations perspective, is like this should not be the thing that jams you from getting that idea to fruition. It should not be that hard. And so how can I help? What can we do? And that's kind of like the motto I've taken into my business, especially when I meet other people, is like, how can I help you? And then the other part is like sometimes it involves money. So we have to have that conversation. But really, at the end of the day, it's just, I think I definitely have the desire, but I think it's like almost a need to help people in whatever they're
Yeah.
doing in whatever small way I can.
And that's to me why biology still makes sense to me. I
Hmm.
loved the process flow. I loved having things
Yeah.
organized. I love being able to put a name to something, because once you put a name to something, that you can fix it and you can solve for the problem that it's created. And my degree in biology and my background in sciences lends directly to what I do in sales and exactly what I do to help founders. But
Hmm.
Sarah, if you looked at my resume, you'd be like, what has this girl done? She's worked in nonprofit, she's worked in government, she's moved a million different places. Like,
Yeah.
now she's running her own business. It looks crazy.
I know. I mean, I've been mostly in tech, but like 10 plus different industries in tech. Like yeah, I totally understand that. But I think it makes you a really well-rounded person, and I think it gives you different experiences to draw on. But going back to your sciences degree, like it makes perfect sense because you're taught the scientific method, right? Especially to experiment. So like what are some of the ways that you bring that experimentation mindset into your business and your work in general?
Yeah. One thing that I think science has really taught me is that you can't just do it once and expect to use that as the ultimate capital T truth moving forward. You have
Hmm.
to be able to create a process that you can repeat. So, specifically, when I'm working with founders thinking about their go to market motion, if you closed one deal one way and then one deal another way, that's not a process. That's two examples, which is great. And that's data and that's feedback. But we've got to get those reps in over and over and over again to figure out exactly what is working long term for you to be able to scale and grow.
And I love that you said earlier that, it took you like well, maybe not well over, but it took you at least 100 coffee chats before you landed a client. Like those are some insane numbers, but I feel like entrepreneurship is part of it is hard because it can be really lonely. Another part is that it can be really hard because you're expected to wear so many hats. And if you don't have either that like get it out mentality figured out, or you've got, capital to hire people, it's going to be really hard. But just even having that experimentation mindset, that is huge. And not even that, but just write the shit down because otherwise you're just messing around, as somebody said a long time ago. I don't know who, but yeah, it's not science if you don't write it down.
Which is one thing that I love about the platform that we're using for Referral Reef, is that it
Mhm.
allows you to put private notes on people's
Oh,
profiles as well. So that way I could say, like, I know Sarah, we had this conversation. Here's some things that we talked about. So next time that we connect, I have my private notes that I can see about what
yeah.
we talked about last time. And note takers are fabulous, but unless you're going searching and finding the information about the
Mhm.
last conversation that you had, then you're probably not going to remember everything as soon as you get off the phone.
So, if there's one thing that you could say to somebody who was looking to start a consultancy, looking to do that next big idea, a founder that's just in need of, help with sales or whatever it is, or, maybe they're a college student doing biology, what is something you would tell them that you wish you had known? What's a piece of advice?
Yeah. One thing that I heard recently that's really stuck with me is that being a solopreneur or an entrepreneur running a business by yourself is actually a team sport. So you've got to find your tribe of people. You've got to reach out to people
Hmm.
because your network is only as big as your network is. But if you start expanding and getting to know other people, you increase it tenfold almost overnight and unlock
Yeah.
those true relationships with people.
Hmm. Yeah.
And for people that are like in college doing their little biology degree and they don't know what's coming next,
Yeah.
that's fine. But figure out why you were excited about biology or why you're not
Yeah.
excited about biology. Because sometimes figuring out what you don't want to do will help you figure out what you do want to do faster.
That is true. That is true. That's a great couple of pieces of advice. Find your tribe and find out what you don't want to do.
Yeah. That
That's
was the advice
awesome.
I got when I started my company, when I started Melia Strategy is what could you do in your sleep that
Yeah.
you love doing and what do you want to do every single day and what do you absolutely want to stay away from? And
Hmm.
those will be your guiding goalpost.
Yeah. I used to do, and I've done this before, and I do it with like founders that I work with, but it's something called an ikigai map. And so ikigai is Japanese for reason to be or reason to get out of bed in the morning. And so it's what moves you. You find your passion, your vocation, all of those kind of things. It's really, really fun and it helps give you a little bit more direction.
Very cool. I love that.
Cool. Yeah, it's nice. Morgan, where can the people find you?
Yes, please connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm sharing content out there daily, talking about referrals, talking about networking, talking about go-to-market strategy, founder conversations, story times, and sometimes just stuff that's going on in Hawaii.
Hmm.
So find me there and then come join me on the Reef. I'd love
Yeah,
to have you as part of Referral Reef.
this is amazing. Great. Well, thank you so much for joining, and we'll talk to you soon.
Great. Thanks, Sarah.